I don't know. Maybe Alex Pantanakis is sad. Is he sad, Alex? I don't know. He's the Florida GOP political director. He's joining us right now on Florida's Voice, and I sense that I'm looking at his face right now. He looks so sad. No, he doesn't. He
You know,
looks
I'm
just fine.
I'm
Uh,
devastated, Drew. I don't know how we're gonna possibly come back as a country missing all
I
these
don't.
fine, folks that are claiming to leave or say this
Yeah.
happens though every election though, doesn't it? Like every
Yeah.
presidential year, if this one wins, Democrats are gonna leave, and it seems that they never do. So we'll see
Yeah,
if this time is different.
but Alex, let's give Tom Hanks a little bit of credit to start off this hour because at least he left. He actually
Is that
did what he.
real? I
I
missed
don't.
that.
I don't know. It's trending right now on X, and it just popped, and I saw his name, and I was like, no. And there it is, and I'm looking at. And I don't know if this is maybe his account got hacked. Maybe he's joking. I don't know. The point is there are too many people who have lost their minds over this, and the unfortunate reality is if you leave the country, you're gonna miss all the great things that are coming. You're not gonna be here for it.
Well,
The last, it's
it,
crazy.
this is what happens when you have an entire political party in this country whose rhetoric has just gone completely off the rails. Think about what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Tim Walz were saying in the closing weeks of this campaign. They were literally calling our nominee, Donald Trump, and our next president a fascist who's going to take over the country. They were saying with a straight face to their supporters, tens of millions of people who voted for Kamala Harris in this country, that President Trump was going to round up his political opponents and put them in jail. Now, any halfway intelligent person, a person that has the ability to think critically, understood that this wasn't just heated campaign rhetoric, but completely dangerous and irresponsible. But you have a lot of people in this country right now who bought this line of BS. And it's a part of why you saw on Tuesday, particularly here in Florida, a wholesale rejection of not just the Democrat Party policies, which there are many to quibble with, but the culture of that party is rotten. It was built on this manufactured joy, this manufactured exuberance that existed for allegedly for Kamala Harris, and voters saw through it Tuesday night.
Yeah. I, as I think about it, I look at some of the things that happened clearly in the state. I could not be personally more happy that we rejected Amendment 3 and Amendment 4 here in the state. I'm so happy. I can't even, Amendment 4, I can't even believe, listen, there were some in the country that did accept. I'm trying to think which state in particular, but there are some who had the same issues on their ballots about viability with no number, none at all. Like, how could you possibly do that right there? That should be full stop for you. But how, when you look at all of that and the wholesale rejection, I, it's kind of fun for us, Alex, to play the game. I mean, we might as well at their expense. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. But actually, when you think about Democrats, what are they going to do? Because they're doubling and tripling down. They're not walking away from what they did. They're not admitting or being introspective, as some have said. The people who voted for Trump need to be introspective. They said it on The View this morning. No, no, no. You need to be, but they refuse to. So, I mean, good for us, but it does mean that now we've got to show everybody that the things that we have talked about when put into practice are going to be better for all of us, and especially here in the state, as many people have already witnessed for the longest time, clearly. But as a country, now we got to get that done. And then if they just stay in that same lane, if they don't move, hey, listen, what do you do at that point?
Well, and I think to your point, now it's up to the Republicans who won Tuesday night, and I think it's clear by any standard that President Trump and the Congress and the Senate have a mandate to do the policies and to enact the policies that they campaigned on.
Yeah.
So now is our job. The campaign is over. To execute and to put forth the policies that were clearly very popular. But as far as Florida, you mentioned Florida and you mentioned Amendment 3 and 4, and I know Chairman Power, Florida GOP chairman, is on this show frequently, was laser focused from day one on defeating Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. And you mentioned Amendment 4 specifically. Before that was even on the ballot before the Supreme Court in Florida had actually ruled that that would stand. The Florida GOP put way out on in front of this and said we would oppose any amendment, particularly that one that was very radical. And we did so. We supported resources. We put our grassroots army on this. Obviously, our priority was electing President Trump, Senator Scott, and all of our candidates. But we had really important constitutional amendments on the ballot on Tuesday night. We're proud that 3 and 4 both went down. We put our money where our mouth was, and we fought really hard to sink both of those amendments. And thank goodness we did because
Yeah.
we cannot claim to be as we are. We've got 1.1 million more Republicans now than Democrats in Florida. We retained supermajorities in the House and Senate. We have no statewide elected Democrats. We cannot claim to be this bastion of conservatism and have one of the more liberal abortion laws in the entire country. So I know many of us are glad that that amendment went down Tuesday night.
Yeah, and look, the other thing too we have to remember is they don't go away. They're not going to take their ball and go home. They're
Yeah.
gonna come back. They're going to push up maybe even harder than they did last time. Although I'm not really sure necessarily about
We
that. But
just
they're
want
not going
Nikki to
away.
be chair for life.
Please,
Can we
what can you
arrange
do?
that? Um,
Alex, what can you do? I will do whatever you tell me I need to do to ensure that everything stays the same with regard to Nikki Fried. What do I got? What do I have to
I
do?
think I think we have to endorse her opponent maybe, and that might swing votes in her
Is that,
direction.
I
But
don't know.
look, just look. As someone that works in this business, I
Mhm.
understand clearly the cards were not dealt in their direction, so I'm sympathetic to that. But the
Yeah.
Democrats in Florida did a lot not to help their cause. Let's go through the list. They didn't prioritize voter registration in Florida.
Right.
Keep in mind, 4 years ago, there were 100,000 more Democrats than Republicans in Florida. President Trump still won Florida, of course, even with that plurality advantage for Democrats. Now it's 1.1 million, and there's no signs of that slowing. Another thing to watch with those inactive voters in Florida, if voters miss 2 election cycles in a row, they get thrown on what's called an inactive list. A lot of Democrats are now pending inactive status, so you could see that voter registration gap grow even more. Another thing that Nikki Fried and the Democrats did, which made great press, she won the news cycle. I remember at the end of qualifying Florida GOP, we were getting heat for not fielding candidates in every single state house race, and the Democrats did. They went out and fielded all of these very strange candidates, many of whom didn't live in the districts that they were running in
Mhm.
R plus 20, R plus 30, R plus 30 seats, trying to, say we're going to compete everywhere. Which, what does that do? One, that engages our Republican voters. It makes, in many cases, very popular Republican incumbents go back into their districts and campaign. That helped us a ton. And she didn't provide resources to these candidates. She led them like lambs to the slaughter. And third and finally, with the changes in election law in the state of Florida, you have to request your vote by mail ballot every election cycle. Chairman Evan Power and our team, Bill Helmick, and everyone at the RPOF, we launched what was called the Republican Renewal Initiative. We spent over a year talking to our Republicans who had voted by mail in the past and encouraged them to renew those requests. We understand that not everyone likes voting by mail. We're not here to evangelize for vote by mail, but we made the strategic decision that for those who prefer, who are on our side, that's their method, whether there's a health issue or that's what they like to do. We wanted to make sure that they renewed those requests, and we had a very high success rate with that. You look at Nikki Fried and the Democrats, there were a million less Democrats who requested vote by mail ballots in 2020 to 2024. That's a
Wow.
structural voter mobilization issue that they had this week, and it bared out in the numbers. 86% of registered Republicans in Florida voted on Tuesday, 10 points less for the Democrats. When you combine that with a million more Republicans than Democrats, you get the walloping you got here in Florida.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Alex. Listen, it was great to see you. Hope to have you back
Good to see you,
soon,
sir.
and we'll talk more about what's coming up, the things to look ahead to, because we got a lot of that going on, and it's going to be good.
A
It's going
busy,
to be really
busy
good.
election. Exciting time.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Alex. We'll see you soon.